Well, hello, everybody out there in Facebook land, TikTok world, YouTube, everywhere this clip will go viral. I am Monty Anderson here at 412 Productions, the art of Monty Anderson, giving you another exciting, and you'll understand why, review of Antarctic Press Comics books, exciting books. Antarctic Press pages, their 40th anniversary stuff, all that good stuff, and all this happening. All right, so here we have exciting comics. That's why I said exciting at the beginning. Go figure. All right, so with that, we have a 48 big pages set on the front cover. Two book length stories Pinpoint by Alfred Page and Demon Hunter Raven by Nicholas Mueller. Here's the cover to this book. To this comic book, you see the title price is $4.99. That typical $5 price that you see on most comic books nowadays. All right, so we have our editor-in-chief, Mr. Ben Dunn. We have cover Edson Alves, W. Bryan, Magne, and Robert Mix. Send comments and submissions to Antarctic Press Dallas at AOL.com. And book one, part two. So we're already part two into these books. So Pinpoint has been around for a little bit. The story is by Alfred Page and Philip Morgan, and the art is by Edson Alves. And then on page 23, part 9, for Demon Hunter Raven, story and art by Nicholas Mueller, edits by Matthew D. Rise. So, you got the founder, Ben Dunn of Antarctic Press. You've got the publisher, Joe Dunn, his brother. Editor-in-chief, Mr. Brian Denham, Mr. Denman himself. Office manager, editor, Doug Dillon. Digital manager, Dan Sackarau. Submissions, David Hutchinson. Production, Alfred Perez. Art director, Joe Wright. And web, Holly Daughtry. So this is coming out May of 2025, so it should be out already since it is June. And here we go. Pinpoint Part 2. As we've already kicked off that this is, already happening, already taking place. This shows a flashback to a war scene, or I believe it's a flashback. Yeah, they say memories are important as the blood in your veins. So they're showing a flashback right here of them in battle. Of course, I've never seen, anybody dressed like her in battle that I was ever in. But, so they are, taking out people left and right. This is a bloody book already. I like it, and military aspect at that stage as well. So people are getting gunned down in the streets, and you're the crack shot cowboy, not me. It's a double page spread. And besides, there's too many of them to count. So he starts taking them out left and right, one after another. And then all of a sudden, a big explosion happens, knocking them and rocking them off their feet. Mel, I'm good, she says as she's getting up. Did you see where it came from? I saw. And I think it's time for a house call. So, he thinks she's dead, but she's not. And then we come back to present day, where he's basically asleep in a chair. He's got guns in hand. It's Eden Island, 7:22 p.m. And he hears the slam of a car door, which wakes him up, or takes him out of his meditative state, whichever. And he sees a group of people downstairs. Right there. Good start to a book. And then you get into the scantily clad women, which we got to have in pretty much every book. I'm kidding. But we do have a lot of scantily clad women. Whatever you say, Mr. Finch, is there going to be a mess? So they climb the stairs. And pretty soon, just one shotgun blast goes through and kills pretty much everybody. So he takes out everybody with one shot, basically. Don't worry, if I wanted to kill you, I would have done it when you pulled up in your ride. Then what the hell? You won't. And so he's got the boss dead to rights, and then as the rest of his crew comes up, and they tell him not to move. Well, he moves, kind of like in The Crow, and he blasts them all. Some more dead thugs, right there. You make it worth it, Finch, and I'll see to it nobody ever dreams about screwing with you, ever, as he puts out a hand. Well, they get into his ride and take off, and he's telling about how much everybody loves him, how he gives them protection and all that good stuff. They stop the car. This dude punches out a chick for who knows what reason. Over there, she didn't pay him his money, whatever. 8:17 p.m. So only about an hour has gone by since this has taken place, and now they're meeting with Big Man, and they're going up to meet him. Everything is typical comic book style, which is very cool. You want to see that, and you don't want it to be so super realistic that they try too hard, you know. And that's what I love about comics is that you can make a great comic and it look good, you know. So now they're about to bury a guy in a casket alive, and he reminds me of the shop owner in The Crow, who had the pawn shop, you know, where they kept pawning all their stuff. And this guy looks like an older version of me. Just kidding. That's the main baddie up here. So they lock this guy in a casket, putting the lid on it, knocking the lid shut. Right here. And next scene, it's next day. He's washing up. He's gonna go do some martial arts moves with this guy. Two buff dudes going one on one. Women's favorite thing, you know. So they're taking their licks, doing their martial arts styles, battling it out. Well, the main man gets the better of him, knocks him on his ass. So a lot of action in this book as well, from gunfights to fist fights. Well, now in comes a bird. This is 11:29 a.m. So it's the next morning after the little battle scene right there. This scantily clad chick with the painted on dress comes out of the helicopter right there. She's talking to the main character. So they're having a little argument about what all's going on. His name is Smith, and that's the end of the episode. So Pinpoint, good little story. Um, it is very comic book esque of some early '90s image comics, if you will. Oh, when it comes down to it, a lot of action, a lot of scantily clad women in tight bodysuits. Think what was it? What was her name? I mean, any of them. Take Witchblade for example. Take I'm trying to think of the one when she had demon wings, like Cinder or something like that. She was a blonde chick, really thin, but painted on outfits, and then she had this huge that she would transform into this big demon looking thing, or at least part of her did anyway. And I can't remember the exact name of what her name is right off the top of my head. But you had all those aspects of some early 90s image comic stuff in this book. Very, very classic style, very cool. So they did a great job on that book. So kudos to them. Two thumbs up for that one. Again, I don't always like everything that Antarctic Press puts out. There's some stuff that is just like, eh, okay. Somebody put out a book in Antarctic Press. Good job. Kudos to them. Um, but it all has to be approved by Ben and Joe Dunn and Brian Denham as well in that aspect. So there is a lot of thought process that goes on behind getting your book inside of an Antarctic Press title, especially like Exciting Comics. And apparently, with this Exciting Comics, these have been in these books for a little bit because we're on part 9 of the next one, and we're on part 2 of this one. So it made it past the first cut. So there is a reason for that. You know, it's not because Brian and Joe Dunn couldn't find anybody else to do it or to find another title to replace it with. It's because they liked it enough to continue on. Ben and Joe Dunn. So, and then Brian. So there you have that. So that is the review of Pinpoint. Good stuff, good story, good artwork on the cover as well. So go look for those in Exciting Comics as well. The next one is Demon Hunter Raven. Now, we already told you who it was by, and I'm sure we'll get to see that again, maybe. This one is a little bit longer of a book, it feels. Think Powers, if you will. Not as tight of a story, if you will, as far as the character development goes and the characters themselves. But the style reminds me a little bit of Powers, with a loose style of Powers, because you know how they made their characters really tight in there. This just reminds me of Powers. These two characters right here remind me of Powers. If you don't know what that is, go look up Powers, the comic book series, and you'll understand what I'm talking about. So this is part 9 to Demon Hunter Raven, and we start out with dialogue going into a body shop, if you will. Uh, Not really a body shop, but apparently some things were trying to be created and it didn't happen, didn't work. And then we flip over to the next page, which is of, and I'm afraid we can't stop it. Sisters, today we gathered for this momentous celebration. Each one of you has worked tirelessly for this moment, each sacrifice bringing us closer to his revival. He chose us as his faithful servants to carry out his will. So they've got a guy tied to a table, witchcraft going on, all that good stuff. She's reading this book with the mind powers of some sort. Okay, and then we got this dude in a. We have walked among them, pretending to wear human skin, deceiving them. You got this dude getting ready to butcher up something, and blood is draining to the floor. It's going into Lord Valentine. Begin your rule once again. So they're vampires. Okay, witch vampires apparently, and we have um, and it just escaped me. But Kate Beckinsale vampire, uh, right here. This is basically what it boils down to in this scene. Him getting a blood transfusion going down, and this is basically Selena, if you will. Um, the armor and the ritual, they work. Rightfully so. They have restored what time and the trickster took from me. Despair no more, sire, for we have carried out your actions to perfection. And now they are moving through. Again, this artwork is a little bit off for me. It's not something that I would pick up 100%. Just, I mean, this scene alone, you've got this massive figure drawn up here, in the doorway. All this going on, it's very, very simple to me, if you will. I mean, there's a lot of detail here, but your faces changed from this spot over here to this spot over here. Now, with that being said, it could be because of the blood transfusion dropping into his body that his face changes to a little bit younger face over here on this panel than it was on this panel when he was sitting in the chair. Now we switch back to human side. I'll be home late, but grab a I know, now get going before you're late. Hi, bye. What? Weren't you suspended? You're what? And apparently this is the mom right here, and he's like, I'm late, I gotta go, can't talk, see you later, bye. Well, the next thing you see is him sparring with a person, and then another person shows up, and she's holding a ticket, and he makes a reference to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Willy Wonka. Golden ticket to the Chocolate Factory? Why would I get or need a ticket to a chocolate factory? I keep forgetting. You don't watch movies. And so this is very simple stuff. This one would be for a kid to look at. There's a little bit of violence in it. Not a whole lot of over-the-top stuff going on that I'm seeing yet. Like she's fighting a vampire right here, trying to get information out of him. But very simple, very, very stuff that a child could read. And I'm not meaning that it's childish. I'm just saying that there's not a whole bunch of cuss words in here. There's not a whole lot of naked women and things like that in this book. So, they are using their perspective rather well when it comes to certain scenes, like the crowd scenes. They're using their perspective quite well because you can actually see, if I were to draw a line from here and pinpoint out, all of your characters would go to a point back over here somewhere, and so you can tell that they are using their perspective in here and things of that nature. They're figuring out where they need to go, and they're going in there. They're at a vampire party, basically. So again, what was that other movie with Kate Beckinsale in it and Hugh Jackman? Van Helsing, when they're at the vampire party there as well. So you've got humans that are tied up, gagged. People are bidding on them. And then she's like, hey, there's a disturbance in the force, if you will. She's like, sire, something is amiss. There is light amidst our gathered shadow. And then all hell breaks loose, with a new character popping in on the scene here in just a second. Dun, dun, dun. This character right here. And he just pops out, hold on, what in the... And then she gets cold cocked and knocked to the ground. The one that said, what in the... Right here. Gets cold cocked, knocked to the ground. Unconscious. And then one of them has a voodoo doll, basically, and controlling this guy that just popped through the skylight. Right here. She's throwing him around by the actions of this bunny. And then she gets the bunny knocked out of her hands. He comes out from under her spell. And then this chick takes over right here. And she says, you will pay with your lives. And apparently this is her dad. We need an exit. So she's fighting alongside of her father. Again, it's simple stuff. I'm not saying that it's good. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's a very simple drawing. Some scenes don't make sense because things are so much bigger than they should be. Like take this car scene right here. This seat is huge, as opposed to this seat right here. And then there's like a mazillion miles of space between the seat and them in the back seat. Those type things. Now it is in a van. It looks like up here, so that could be the difference between how far back they are sitting there than not. But there's just things that just don't 100% make sense. And just like this cut scene on this arm, everything else is penciled in or inked in except for this back side over here. And I'm about to show you what I'm talking about. And it does it on a couple of different spots. which doesn't make sense for the side that the sun is coming in on, you know. And I mean, I get it. If the light source is coming in from behind her, I get it, because on some other panels they don't have it either in certain areas. But for your main characters, go ahead and pencil in or ink in that section, because what I'm talking about is right here. As you can see up here with his arm, it shows apparently the light source is coming from this direction, coming towards him. So that means that's the lightest section, so they didn't ink that. And then over here, all of this, the light source is coming. But according to this panel, where the light source is behind her, the light source is actually right here in this window, shining this direction. So in essence, this side would be the light side, not back here, you know. And as you look through it all, you can see the differences. And then you get over on this page, and they do it again. But the curtain, let me just show you this. The curtain here still has the ink line in it, whereas they do not on the side that the light is shining in on, you know. So it's very confusing on all that aspect. I would have just went ahead and inked it all in and gone that route with it. But that's just me. That's their. This is their comic. This is not mine. So, and again, it's a very loose powers, if you will. What's happening? The light relic has chosen him. What do you mean it chose him? I thought I was. Michael, we need to prepare you for what is to come. What do I do? There is nothing we can do until the boy is 16. He's too weak and would be destroyed by the stone if he took it now. But no doubt they will sense a change and detect him. I will post guards around you at all times. You live your life like normal until the day comes for him to step forward. So she thought she was going to be the chosen one, this whole time. And apparently it picks another person, as you see him, and they're carrying him out. But very simple artwork when it comes down to it all. Now, she's studying martial arts as she's growing up. And, she's doing everything she can, whereas this other kid is living life normally, who got chosen. And he's about to reach that age of 16, So here she is, very classic Electra pose, if you will, doing all this training, whereas this kid is like, and so she could once again be worthy of the stone. Oh no, the time. My mom is going to kill me. Go pray, rest, and help your family. We'll regroup later and strategize. Hero, is any of this going to work? Have heart, Adam. Sometimes God provides obstacles, so we will see truly how much we need him. So this is a Christian-based story, if you will. They are relying on God's power and all of that good stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that, Now, they are this other group is creating life out of creatures, and they right here it is getting ready to attack, and boom, she takes him out. She shoots him 3 different times, and they're trying to find answers. Now, right here is basically the end of the story for this book, and he's trying to figure out what happened at this party. Ruling from shadows, I established you inferior men into places of prominence. You owe all your worth to my generosity. Yet you repay me with your incompetence and inferiority. You allowed hunters into my home. And to be continued, as it says. And again, the things I don't like about the story is that the characters keep changing. The main character's faces change. Now, again, it could be the infusion of blood coming into the main Valentine character, where he's starting to get younger. But things are continuously changing with this character that I don't like. And you see that in other characters as well. that they don't keep consistency uh, throughout. But all in all, a good story, Christian-based story, so it would be for children. Uh, Not that it is made for children, but kids could read it if they wanted to. And then at the end of this book, they give us the whole "Who Will Survive the Night" Monkey Peak. We've already previewed this one. You can go find it on my YouTube page. And then right here, School's Out Forever, 200th issue of Ninja High School, number 200, landmark collector's item issue. You can find it now, I'm pretty sure. And then April, which is already passed, of 2025, Fred Perry homage variant to Ninja High School 200 as well. So you can get all of these already if you haven't got your 200th issue of Ninja High School right now. But all in all, Raven, Demon Hunter Raven, is a good story. Again, it is simple stuff, and think powers when you read it. As far as the characters development goes, the characters themselves go, things of that nature. But it is a very very good stuff. Enough for you to get interested into if you are interested in that type of a book, a Christian based vampire type story. Not quite Twilight, but um, yeah, it is something that you could get into real easily. So another two thumbs up for that book. I might go back and find the other 8 parts just to read up and catch up on that. So, but that is it for my review of Exciting Comics. What number is that anyway? Exciting Comics number 52. So there are 52 books into that one. So there you go. You all have a great day. And as I like to say here, we will catch you on the flip side. Have a good day, everybody.